What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're back again with another Elestral's lunar events. We are here looking at the lunar phases. If I can get my video to pop up like it's supposed to, there we go. Let's see what these 8 lunar phases, because we're gonna have this 8-card combo. It changes everything, which I'll talk about that in thoughts on that in a second.
It's time for us to break down all 8 lunar phases in Moonrise. Get ready, Volclipse is here.
Let's
This
see.
is day 4 of us counting down Moonrise reveals every single day until pre-orders open on November 15th. And we've got some epic reveals for you guys today. If you missed yesterday, we revealed Voldusk, Volumbra, Volclipse, and Lunar Phase New Moon, a brand new deck type that you can build around with 8 different titled lunar phases that all have different functionality, and we're going to break that all down for you guys today. Just a quick recap. Voldusk allows you to draw or heal every time you play a lunar phase. Volumbra can special ascend out your Voldusk or turbo into Volclipse, and Volclipse can bounce an entire opponent's field back to their hand if you can return all 8 lunar phases from your underworld back to your deck. Now let's break down those lunar phases. One thing I want you guys to pay attention to is the artwork on this, as this set of lunar phases depicts an incredible storyline that I hope you guys will enjoy as much as we do. I think it's awesome, so let's talk about it. We've got Lunar Phase New Moon. We talked about yesterday, a brand new invoke rune that suppresses an Celestial, and that has the opportunity to actually destroy that Celestial if you could find a way to discard a lunar phase and pay a little bit more of a cost. Up next in our lunar phase cycle is Waxing Crescent, which is a counter rune with 2 lunar spirits. You can target a lunar enchanted Celestial and give it +1 attack until the end phase for each lunar phase in all underworlds. That means
So if you're dueling against each other and say both casters have 8 in each, that's going to be +16. Wow.
you can buff up your lunar enchanted Celestial for every single lunar phase in your underworld, your opponent's underworld. This gets incredibly powerful, especially if you're running the lunar phase deck, making your opponent very weary to attack into some of your lunar enchanted Celestials. This is a card to watch out for. Waxing Crescent is insanely strong. Up next is First Quarter. First Quarter is a 1-cost counter rune that says draw a card. So it's simply, you just draw a card. Really simple effect. Then you have the opportunity to discard a lunar phase from your hand to return a Voldusk, Volumbra, or Volclipse from your underworld to your hand. You might be starting to see a trend here. A lot of these lunar phase cards actually have dual functionality. They have the ability to have one effect and then actually a secondary effect, and they're really, really incredible when you get into the synergistic potential with the Volclipse line and how it all can kind of tie together. It's very, very cool. So again, you can simply draw a card and then you have the opportunity to discard a lunar phase to be able to get a card back to your hand. Very, very valuable tool to keep your Voldusk onto the field and ensure that you can take maximum advantage of your lunar phases by either reducing their cost or adding draw power into the game. Up next, another counter rune, and these lunar phases are
So far we've had 3 counter runes and 1 invoke rune. I don't know, man.
Split between invoke and counter runes. This one is a 1-cost counter rune that says you can target a lunar enchanted Celestial and change its position. So if you find your Voldusk caught out in attack position and you want to switch it to defense, you can. Or if you're playing up against a lunar deck, you have the opportunity to switch their lunar enchanted Celestials to defense. Could be very powerful. But then you have the opportunity to expend a lunar spirit to discard a lunar phase from your hand. If you do, the targeted Celestial cannot be destroyed by card effects once this turn. I'll let the gears spin on that one, but you might be able to tell that Waxing Gibbous has the potential to be an incredibly disruptive card when paired with other lunar phases. You can discard them out of your hand, and then you can actually prevent that Celestial that you're saving, that you just changed its position. You can actually prevent it from being destroyed against opponents' card effects. Absolutely nuts. Waxing Gibbous. It's time to reveal Full Moon, one of the most powerful lunar cards in the game. This card is going to be nuts. It is a 1-cost counter rune that says enchant up to 2 lunar spirits to an Celestial on your field. That means you can pick
and you can foretell 3 afterwards, which, okay.
any one of your Celestrals and just give them 2 lunar spirits, which increases the damage that you can deal to your opponent. It can work with stadium cards and various effects that are going to buff your Celestral based on how many spirits they have on them. This card has so much potential, and I have a feeling you guys are going to be very familiar with Lunar Phase Full Moon, because these lunar phases, they function in a core deck together, but a few of them can kind of function on their own outside of the lunar phase deck, and I think Full Moon is one of those cards that has an opportunity to do just that. When this lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase, you can can foretell 3.
Okay.
So another little benefit here, we've seen some of these lunar phase cards looking to discard other lunar phases. When you discard lunar phase full moon, you get a foretell effect, so you can kind of plan your next couple turns out, which also synergizes with some other interesting cards in Moonrise. So keep an eye out for that. I think full moon, like I said, you're gonna know this card for sure. Up next, we're going into the Invoke Rune suites of the lunar phases. Waning Gibbous is up next, and is a 1-cost Invoke Rune that simply says shuffle a lunar phase, Volumbra, or Volclipse from your hand or Underworld into your deck in order to search your deck for a Voldusk and add it to your hand. One of the most important pieces of the lunar phase deck is the consistency with Voldusk. By having Voldusk out and being able to activate its effect by utilizing your lunar phases is what allows the engine to run to be able to ultimately power its way to a Volclipse for an endgame solution. And lunar phase Waning Gibbous is so crucial in that to ensure that you can get your Voldusk no matter what happens. This essentially gives you 3 extra copies of Voldusk, and you can actually shuffle the card from your hand or Underworld into your deck to ensure that you can maximize the different cards that you want to see throughout your game plan here. Waning Gibbous. We've got 2 more, and this next one is Final Quarter, and this one is going to really give you some insight into how Volclipse is going to work. This is a 1-cost Invoke Rune that says you can search your deck for up to 2 lunar phase and send them to your Underworld. So we know Volclipse requires you to get to 8 lunar phases with different titles in your Underworld for its effect to activate, and Final Quarter is going to give you the opportunity to get 2 of them right there automatically by just using this effect. Incredibly powerful, and the fact that you can play this card and draw an additional card with Voldusk or heal and essentially play it for free allows this engine to thrive. When this lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase, you can return a lunar spirit from your Underworld to your spirit deck. So an extra payoff there as well if this is the card you choose to throw away to your Underworld with the lunar phase discarding effects. Lunar phase Final Quarter, and a crucial piece of the lunar phase deck. And last but not least is lunar phase Waning Crescent. This is a 1-cost Invoke Rune that says you can return up to 2 lunar phases from your Underworld to your spirit deck. This gives you the opportunity to essentially heal +1. But again, when paired with Voldusk, it's a heal 2 or it's a heal 1 plus draw 1. When this lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase, you can draw a card, then discard a card. So again, adding to the draw engine and adding to the consistency engine of lunar phase, all looking to build up to that final payoff of getting your Volclipse out, returning your opponent's field to their hand, and then being able to deal massive damage. As I mentioned, the lunar phases work best in tandem with Voldusk, Volumbra, and Volclipse, but there's going to be plenty of strategies to explore throughout Moonrise that utilize various pieces of this engine to create a
We know what that is. That's Werepup.
cohesive and awesome strategy. I really hope you guys are excited for the lunar phases. We put a lot of work into this mechanic, and it's a big step forward for us as we explore building different things in the game. And I think a lot of you guys who are a little bit more technically savvy and really interested in kind of deep deck compositions, I think lunar phases are going to fit right in with you. A very strategic and complex deck to run. Lunar phases looks to make a significant impact when Moonrise releases.
I highly doubt it's going to make that much of an impact. You're asking a person to give up 8 to 24 slots in a 40-card deck to get all the lunar phases in there and get this engine to work. I just don't see it. I don't see somebody playing a full-on lunar phase deck. That's 8 cards at the minimum, 24 at the max, and that's just, like, no. Like, why would you want to play that when there's other staples out there, like Invoke, like 1 Earthquake, 1 Royals, 3 GGs, 3 PTAs, and other stuff like that you can play and have a much better, a lot less complicated Clash deck out there. I just do not see any reason to sit there and go, let me take 8 cards and remove them and put these in there. It's just, I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait to see what happens with everyone else. Like, the more, like, up there who, like, I'm sure MBT will have a whole deck profile when he's allowed to. The Lestronauts will have something on it too, because those guys know their stuff a lot more. I'm just sitting here like, I don't know, 8 cards to make a combo work, and it all loses the GG. This card combo loses the GG, like, immediately. You get Voldusk on the field. Let me just resting on your laurels it. Let me hit you with an Earthquake. Okay. You just did all that for nothing. Oh, you want to play a counter ruin? You want to play an Invoke Ruin? Oh, okay. I'll hit you with a Divine Blessing. Oh, counter ruin? Chains of Prometheus. This just seems like a lot of work for not enough payoff. But I'm glad they showed them all off just so we can get them out of the way. And let's see what we got tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.